source for all the insider information on the defending NFC North champion Detroit Lions. With insight from Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. Get ready, Detroit. It's now time for Woodward and Maine.
What a season. Mr. Terry Foster, how you doing this morning? Can you
I'm
hear me?
doing fine. Yes, I hear you. Do you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. Loud and clear, Terry. You know, if you could move the camera just a tiny bit so your center frame, we'll get this show on the road. We'll get this show on the road. Everyone in the chat, thank you for joining in. It's Sunday morning. It's 8 o'clock. It's not a victory Sunday, but we have a lot to talk about.
It's a sad Sunday.
It's a sad Sunday, Terry. Last night was crushing. It hurt. Lions fans are distraught right now. I don't think they know what to do with themselves, but last night they got upset by the number 6 seed Washington Commanders. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I've already heard. I've already heard from some of my hater friends from around the nation who are waiting for this moment. So how you guys feel in Detroit now? They kept all quiet all year, and then now they're gonna jump bad. So that's sports.
Yeah, a sour ending to a really sweet season. Again, everyone in the chat, thank you for joining. Thank you for supporting Woodward in Maine. My name is Matt Broder, and my co-host, the legend, the Detroit sports media legend, Terry Foster. I'm excited to get your take on this game, on how Lions seasons have ended in the past and how this might feel to you. I also want to introduce Pete Spivak, who's helping us out,
good morning,
running
guys.
all the technical details in the TD booth. Pete, good morning, man.
Good morning, boys. How are you?
You got the Chuck Schumer look today.
No, I just dropped the glasses. No Chuck Schumer look, please.
How are you feeling?
I'm just tired, man.
Chuck
I'm here.
Schumer joke?
I'm here, but I'm tired, man. It's just obviously a long, sad morning. Didn't really sleep too much.
Yeah. The season ended earlier than expected, Terry. It ended earlier, and I don't even know where you want to start, but before we get into like analyzing the game and some of the key storylines, like I kind of just want to get the corny stuff out of the way. Like, I had a blast this season. Like, I'm really grateful to be able to watch this Lions team, 15-2, well, 15-3 now. One of the best seasons in Detroit Lions history. You know, it came to an end way too early. We had Super Bowl aspirations, Super Bowl hopes, but the future is bright. Like, it was such a weird feeling last night because the loss was so disappointing. It was crushing. It was a crushing blow. It makes the season a failure, but it was mixed with this excitement for the future. Like, this team will be back. There's going to be new players. There's going to be new coaches, but they're still going to have Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, and Sheila Hamp. And to me, that's all that really matters. All the other pieces will fall into place. So there's my little positive, get the corny stuff out of the way, because last night was brutal. But I am excited for the future of this team.
You know, wasn't this game lost like 3 or 4 weeks ago? That,
you think so?
If you get a competent quarterback, we all thought that Jayden Daniels would choke under the pressure. He didn't. This dude has got ice water for blood. I mean, this dude, I've never seen such a calm performance.
Yeah.
It was a great performance, but he was calm because he had everything going against him. He had the crowd, the lines were amped up. Everything was there for him to fail. But the dude was just so calm, cool, collected. I bet you he didn't even use his deodorant last night. The guy was so good.
The game felt slow. When he had the ball.
I tell you what, I haven't seen many performances like that.
Yeah.
And first of all, yes, we could always say, yeah, well, the Lions didn't play well. They didn't do this, blah, blah. But this dude threw some lasers.
Mm-hmm.
He avoided pressure. He was smart. He knew where to go with the ball. His teammates have a lot of confidence in him. We talk about great performances. We talk about Michael Jordan doing great things. We talk about Tom Brady doing great things. We talk about Wayne Gretzky doing great things. Jayden Daniels did that last night. Now it's not on the biggest of stages, yeah, because obviously he wants to go to the Super Bowl, and he'll be in the NFC Championship game next week, and we'll see how he does there. But this is as big as it gets for a guy this young, a guy this inexperienced, with so much on the line. So I want to praise him first of all, for a great performance, and then the Lions were not mentally focused last night. Jared Goff got greedy, and I think that's what led to some of the turnovers. I go back to a press conference Todd McClellan, the Red Wings coach, made the other day. He said that after the Red Wings lost the game, he thought they played entitled. I thought that was a little bit of a case against the Commanders.
Interesting.
The Lions played entitled, like they were owed this. Like all they got to do is show up, and they're going to win. But that's not the case. That's not the case in NFL playoffs. That's never in the case in this league. That's why it's so hard to go to the Super Bowl. And I like to ask this question during the darkest of days because then we can reflect, what is your confidence level of this team going to a Super Bowl in the next 5 years? Because when we talk about the Lions going to the Super Bowl, we're not just talking about this year, which obviously is not going to happen, but we're going to, there's a chance next year, the year after, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm going to say something that if our little Commander fans are on the chat,
they're in there.
Rip me for. Are they there?
They're in there. Bradley Guthrie. Here come the excuses. Turn out the lights. The party's over from Darius Etheridge.
There's not going to be one excuse for me. The Commanders were the better team last night.
Yeah.
Daniels was a terrific performance, and I'm talking about. I'm comparing this dude, just his performance, not his overall career, but his performance was. I've seen people like Michael Jordan do, Kevin Durant do, Steph Curry, Tom Brady, all-time greats perform like this.
All-time great.
And there was certain things Lions couldn't do anything about it because this guy was so terrific.
He had the ball. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Terry.
No, I'm saying I've seen few performances like this.
Yeah.
You got to give it up to my man.
He had the ball. When that offense had the ball, the game felt slow. It felt like they were in control, and the numbers point to that way. They had the ball for, 36 minutes? Let me just double-check this. 34 minutes to the Lions' 26. Less yards passing, less yards rushing, less total yards. But they were in control of the game. The Lions' defense had no answer, and most of that, if not all of that, is due to Jayden Daniels. Like, he was sensational, and it wasn't like he did anything outrageously spectacular. He just took care of the ball. He got the first downs when he needed. After their first down mistake, which I don't know what they were doing with Marcus Mariota in there, they were going to pitch it to Jayden Daniels, I think. After that, I think they were 3 of 4 on fourth downs for the rest of the game. 2 touchdowns in the red zone. They made the plays when they needed, and like Dan Campbell said after the game, Detroit didn't play complementary football. So when Goff struggled, when the offense wasn't clicking, the defense wasn't there to pick them up, and vice versa.
No, it wasn't. And you know what? The Commanders last night, all they had to do was not be cute.
Yeah.
On that one play, they tried to get too cute, and it backfired on them.
Yeah.
You're in command for that evening. You're the better team. Just don't try a little cute stuff. And as long as they didn't do that and didn't turn the ball over, they're going to be fine last night.
Yeah.
But
Michael
I still go back. This game was lost 4 weeks ago, in part because of injuries, and in part because there's a few teams like the Bills, the Commanders, and probably Philadelphia who can take advantage of the Lion deficiencies. And the Commanders are one of those teams.
Yeah. MS Skaggs, too, in the chat says, all I heard from this channel all this week was how Jayden didn't know what he was getting into. You're right. We said it.
True.
I said it.
True.
We can't run from it. I thought this was going to be a completely different story, but Jayden Daniels proved me wrong. He proves so many people wrong in this state, so many Lions fans. We got to fall on that sword. The Lions got beat. They didn't play their best game. Jared Goff didn't play his best game. The defense didn't play very well. The Commanders won. They beat the Lions. They were the better coach team. Their players played better. They executed better. All credit goes to the Commanders. It's a bummer that the Lions didn't give their best.
Here was my first sign of trouble last night. It was before the game.
Really?
When they the sideline reporters asked the two coaches, what was your last message for your team? And the Washington Commanders coach came up with some succinct, deep thought thing that what we got to do, and we're in this fight and all this kind of stuff. And then when they came to Dan Campbell, I said, Dan Campbell's going to top that. And then Dan Campbell essentially said, well, we're going to put on some football pants and we're going to try to play a ball game.
Yeah.
And he really had nothing to say. And so my first time was like, okay, Dan Campbell didn't have this great pregame speech. That concerned me a little bit.
Good catch. Good catch. And to go back to how you open it, this team, they weren't mentally prepared. Maybe they were a bit, felt like they were a bit entitled. That's not what we've seen out of Dan Campbell teams all year long, really the last few years. After breaks, after buys, after losses, they come back ready to play, and they're mentally focused. They have the mentality that the Commanders had last night, that Dan Quinn said before the game. It was succinct. It was clear. And the Commanders came out and they played like that. It wasn't too much for them. It wasn't too much for their rookie QB.
No, it was motivational too. And I said, I would have liked to hear that speech.
I know.
If I was about to play. And then Dan Campbell was like, I think they got a sale at Burger King, and we're going to try to get a couple of offers.
Maybe.
I'm like, what's this dude talk about?
He's working on the next employee of the month at Applebee.
Right.
Yeah. So Jayden Daniels walked off the field last night. You say he's got potential to be an all-time great?
There were two all-time greats that walked off that field last night.
Talk to me.
Jayden Daniels and Jahmyr Gibbs.
I like
those.
that.
Yeah, those two guys are going to explode. And I don't know where this is going to lead to, but it's going to lead to greatness. Jahmyr Gibbs, in a loss, showed me why he should be the number one back. I know you love David Montgomery and everything, but talent speaks.
Yeah.
And his talent, his speed, his change of pace and everything is now becoming so obvious that this guy is going to be obviously he's an all-pro player, but he's going to become an all-time great. I think when it's all said and done, if he stays healthy, we're going to talk about Barry Sanders, still number one. Then we're going to throw in Jahmyr Gibbs right after that.
It feels like it. And you saw Barry play.
Yes. And here's the differences. Barry was the most creative running back I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. He could get himself out of trouble. Gibbs is more explosive. He's faster. He's creative too, not as creative as Barry. Mm-hmm. Barry didn't like to get hit. Well, let me just say that. I'm not going to say he didn't like to get hit. He didn't get hit.
Yeah.
His thing was stepping out of bounds, avoiding stuff. Jahmyr Gibbs will take on somebody more than Barry Sanders. But, when Barry retired, I said, this is going to be the greatest running back I've ever seen play live. Mm-hmm. And back then, we had these silly debates. Who's better, Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith? Give me a break.
It's not even close. Jahmyr Gibbs last night, 14 rushes, 105 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Uh-huh. 6 catches, 70 yards, no touchdowns. So what's that about? 175. What was that?
175.
175 total yards. I believe he had 9 rushes in the first half, so only 5 in the second half.
Correct.
It seemed like whenever he touched the ball, he was almost about to break it for a touchdown. Did you think there was any bringing David Montgomery back in this game. How did you feel about that? Whether it's Montgomery's performance or how that factored into the flow of the game or the touches for Gibbs.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that Montgomery got the first touches.
Yeah.
They tried to go back to what it was before. There's two issues. David Montgomery's been out for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
David Montgomery is nursing an injury. He's obviously not what he's going to be in the future, and he's not what he was at the beginning of the season. I just would have said, hey, Jameer, this is your show. We're going to pepper in David Montgomery, but this is your show tonight.
Yeah.
And for the most part, he showed that he was ready for that. Too bad he doesn't play quarterback.
I know, right? We might have needed him throwing that pass near the end of the game instead of Jameson Williams. We'll get to that play, and if Ben Johnson got a little too cute. But I have no problem having Montgomery back. Did he play his best game? No. It's not a slight on Montgomery or his talent. I just think the rhythm was off. Like, they did try to get him the ball early. It needed to be the Gibbs show and the Gibbs show only last night, I feel. So I think just how Ben Johnson called plays, especially early on, was affected by Montgomery being there. He wasn't healthy. He wasn't what we've come to know this season. Maybe it was just rust, but I thought it needed to be a 20-touch Gibbs night. It wasn't, or actually, he had 20 touches. It might have needed to be 25,
look at the explosive
26.
plays that Gibbs made. I mean, it seemed like every rush was 8 yards, 14 yards, 15 yards. There was just like a little tiny sliver early in the second half where he didn't burst through for big gains, and they kind of contained him a little bit. For the most part, this dude was explosive, dynamic, and every time he got the ball, you went like this.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know what was going to happen.
He could be 6 points at a snap of a finger. He and J-Mo, that reverse to J-Mo, courtesy of Teddy Bridgewater, that one series he was in, that was electric. I know in the household I was watching, we had a few people not excited about his pre-end zone celebration. Maybe his end zone celebration, too. He was humping his way all the way for 6. That was electric, but none of that was enough. None of that was enough because, and Terry, I know you can't see the chat, but there's a lot of Jared Goff hate going on right now. We got our fearless leader, Stick Radio, in the chat, supporting him as much as he can. But he's getting hit hard in the chat right now. Jared Goff had a stinker.
Well, you know what? He should be blasted. That was not an acceptable performance.
Yeah.
He got greedy. The
He's
first
been hanging
interception.
out with the parking lot attendants.
He must have. But the first interception, what I always say about him, he just takes what the defense gives him. Mm-hmm. He doesn't worry about trying to make big plays. That very first interception, Sam Laporta is like, 8 yards down the field, like, nobody's near me.
Yeah.
But then he tried to do something that wasn't there.
Sail
it. Then on 3rd and 1, you're moving the ball effectively. You try, you don't try play action. You just, we're just going to throw the ball. We're going to do whatever you feel like doing.
He didn't have a running back in the backfield, so they knew he was going to throw.
Right. So I question that. Now, I know J-Mo is a clown a little bit, and yes, I thought his premature celebration was a little deep. Mm-hmm. But here's where I'm going to defend him. Don't yell at him, because the coaches yelled at him when he threw that interception. First of all, don't put him in that position.
Thank you.
Don't have him in a tight game. It was a 10-point game at the time. Throwing a flea flicker. Mm-hmm. There was no need for a trick play at the time. You're moving the ball. You don't need trickery.
Right.
So, but don't yell. But when the man tries to throw the ball, don't yell at him. You don't put him in that position. A coach's job is to put you in the position to succeed. They didn't do that. Now, when you give J-Mo a play that says you have the option to throw, he's going to throw the football. I don't care if there's 8 people on him. I don't care if there's one wide receiver with 9 people surrounding him. J-Mo's going to throw the ball because he's like, I got my chance here. He's not a quarterback. He's not paid to think through plays like that.
Yep.
He's going to throw something up there. And he threw a wounded duck and
Mikey Sainer still number 2,
right.
second pick of the day.
Yeah. He came back and ruined the Lions' day.
He did.
But then don't turn around, put him in a bad position, then yell at him because he did what he does. He does what J-Mo did. And you knew
it seemed
that
like
was
Dan Campbell wanted him to run. It seemed like it was a run-pass option, which I'm still with you on that. Why that play then? You know, especially against a team that is ready for the trickery. They do it too. They're aggressive too. I think it was second or third down. It wasn't fourth, but it was just not the right timing. That's where I think Ben Johnson got a little too cute, especially there at the end of the game. Get it into the hands of your play. I know Goff didn't have his best game, but he can still get it in the hands of Jahmyr Gibbs or J-Mo, St. Brown, Laporta. He was doing it all night. Just play to your strengths, and J-Mo throwing the ball is not your strength.
No, and maybe the deal then is for Dan Campbell to pull Jared Goff aside and say, hey, bro, no more hero ball.
Yeah.
You do what got you here. If you don't see it, eat it, throw it into the stands, take a knee. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just don't throw another pick.
Yeah.
Because the underneath stuff was open last night. There was no it was the same as it's been the last 17 games.
Yeah.
But Jared Goff, for whatever reason, decided to play hero ball. Jared Goff became what we thought Jayden Daniels was going to become.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm congested today.
Yeah, you're right. I think a lot of Lions fans are feeling similar to you right now, whether truly sick or just sick from last night. That first one I want to ask you, and I know the Lions got some help from the refs later on in the game on the David Montgomery face masking penalty that led to points, but that first pick six where Jared Goff had to be taken to the blue tent, taken to the locker room for concussion protocol, he was hit pretty hard, and it was a helmet-to-helmet hit. Do you have any problem with that? That would have turned that pick six into just an interception. It wouldn't have been those 7 points. I don't want to use this as an excuse for the game, but the game would have been different if that doesn't get in the end zone.
Yeah, but no, bottom line, he still threw a pick.
Yep.
I'm not going to use referee calls as an excuse in this game. We do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's old. It's tired. We should be beyond that. Refs make mistakes. Bottom line was the Commanders were going to have the ball deep in Lion territory. They're going to score anyway.
Yeah.
So he got hit.
Yeah.
Big deal.
The defense,
stuff happens.
They couldn't stop them all day long. After that first fourth down stop, it seemed like the Commanders could get a first down at will. And we're scoring touchdowns. They were scoring touchdowns. I believe they had 6 on the day. Yep. 6 touchdowns to Detroit's 4. They had 1 field goal. Mm-hmm. And they controlled the time of possession. It's the perfect game to prove why fantasy stats don't tell everything. The Lions had more yards, more passing yards, more receiving yards, but the Commanders did the little things to win the game. They controlled the ball, they didn't turn the ball over, and they scored touchdowns. That's winning formula in the NFL, especially in the playoffs and on the road.
Turnovers is so important in the National Football League. When Jared Goff threw the first pick, or when he fumbled the first time, I'm thinking at some point the Lions are going to have to create some type of turnover if they're going to win this game. And that never happened. You're always chasing turnovers. You chase touchdowns, you chase points, you chase turnovers. Because at the end of the day, if you have fewer turnovers than somebody else, you're going to probably win the game. And the Lions never got in position where they're at least even in the turnover battle. After Goff fumbled.
Yeah.
And
Terry, I want to ask you about the future of both these teams, but I'm going to kick it off just with Goff since we're talking about it, because Pat Riley in the chat, I don't think it's the Miami Heat's GM Pat Riley, but he says Goff has 3 career playoff wins, 5 career playoff losses. He has been on way more talented Rams teams with better coaching than the current Lions teams. His best days are behind him. But then Mark down in the chat, probably a Lions fan, says you can't trash Goff overall because he was amazing all year. Did you lose faith in Jared Goff? Do you think he can still be the quarterback to take this team to a Super Bowl and win it, ideally, in the next 3 years while he's under contract?
Yes, I do. One of the mistakes that we make as a media and a fan base is we will see a guy do something great for 18 weeks, and then we'll see him at his worst moment in week 19. And then we say, that's the guy right there. Mm-hmm. Forget what you saw the first 18 times. That's the failure that we're going to see. But, you have to look at the totality of this. One, Jared Goff, if he just plays his game, he's fantastic. For whatever reason, he got out of his element last night. He, saw ghosts that weren't there. He was trying to make plays that were unnecessary. He didn't stick to the game plan. And, one thing that Dan Campbell's always said for the last couple of years is, we stay within our lane. We play hard. Jared Goff, for whatever reason, didn't stay in his lane last night. He tried to do something that he wasn't. He tried to be Patrick Mahomes in the last 3 minutes of the game, and that's not him.
No.
Maybe he was freaked out by seeing a rookie doing the things that he was supposed to do. Daniels, like I said, was fantastic, but he didn't try these crazy plays and stuff. When the run was there, he took it. When the pass was there, he took it. He took what the Lions gave him, which was a lot. But Jared Goff tried to take things that didn't belong to him.
Yeah. Staffy Harlepis.
That's what cost him.
Yeah, Staffy Harlepis in the chat, a $1.99 super chat, says JD5 is the best QB in the NFC. Glenn had 0 answers. That's Jayden Daniels, number 5. Hard to argue with that this morning. I believe Goff. I believe the Lions can still win a Super Bowl with Goff. He has what it takes with the people around him to lead this team to a Super Bowl. Does it look like Jayden Daniels or Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes? No. He does it in a different way, but Goff will be fine. This loss isn't just on him. It's not just on any one player. But he's the quarterback, and he gets the blame because he makes the most money too. He'll take the blame as well. Dan Campbell will take the blame. Jared Goff will take it. That's what makes this team special. But we see 2 different teams. The Lions 4 or 5 years into the rebuild. The Commanders just got started, and they have their quarterback. They got their franchise quarterback of the present and the future. Do you have an opinion on which of these 2 teams is going to have more success moving forward in the short term?
Yes. I was thinking about, I always go back to 1991 and 1992 when I think about the Lions for whatever reason. So last time they were in an NFC championship game. So last time they played the Commanders / Redskins. So that year,
hydrated, baby.
The Lions crushed Green Bay. And here's what we were told.
Yeah.
Whoever wins that game is going to be the next great thing. Lions won. The Dallas Cowboys were the next great thing.
Wow.
I think this is going to play out again. The Commanders won, but the Lions are going to be the next great thing. First of all, they're still young.
Yeah. Very
last
young.
time I checked, Aiden Hutchinson is not retiring. Aleem McNeil is not retiring. You're going to get these guys back. I'm going to assume we're going to see the Lions come back with these guys playing. We're going to see a defense is more healthy. It's going to be healthier, and they're going to be close to what we saw during the regular season. I think in part this was a fluke year. One, the Lions were the best team in the NFC. But then there was such a rash of injuries that I had never seen a team suffer, that they became compromised, they became weaker, and you can only do the rah, 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 we're going to break down the wall so many times when you're losing body after body after body. And then your boy, Amit, got injured pretty early in the game.
Yeah.
That was critical.
Quick little side note. How critical was that? Like not just from a on-field coverage standpoint, playing outside, helping with Terry McLaurin, De'Ami Brown, who had a big catch. Really, Jayden Daniels had a phenomenal throw that De'Ami Brown just was able to hang on to. But I think from a toughness standpoint and a tackling standpoint, losing Amik Robertson early, especially like that, I think it was huge. I think it was a crushing blow just to the energy of this team, the energy of that defense. You saw how much they rallied around him in Week 18 after he did great work locking up Justin Jefferson for 3 catches for 54 yards. His speech in the locker room was inspiring. Losing him early, Terry, that was bigger than people think.
No, it was big, and I don't mean to be flippant, but anytime something happens, well, Vildor has to come into the game.
You said it.
That's huge.
You said it. And he did make one great play early on. It was a pass breakup over the middle. That was a beautiful play.
He's not a total disaster, but
I think that was it. Lions are the Commanders. A brighter future. It's hard to argue when you think a quarterback's going to be an all-time great. And I think Jayden Daniels has all the makings of being one of those special quarterbacks in the NFL, immediately or as early as next year, elevating himself into that status. Maybe not quite Lamar and Josh Allen, and Mahomes is in his own category, but he's right there. He's right there, and I'm just glad that the Bears didn't draft him. I'm just glad the Bears messed that one up too. You can't root against the Lions though moving forward.
All right.
What?
You can say that. If he was drafted by the Bears, he would be walking around like this, like, oh, my God, what's going on? There's something wrong with that franchise. Yes.
Agreed, but
there's things.
I also think Jayden Daniels is special. I don't think Caleb Williams, and I never thought Caleb Williams was special.
I agree, but Caleb Williams is not a disaster. Caleb Williams is a better quarterback than what we're seeing in the Bears. That's Bears shit. That's all over Caleb Williams. If you put him on another franchise, we wouldn't be talking about how bad Caleb Williams was. Justin Fields, at some point, is going to be a good quarterback. Not great, but he's good. When he gets all that Bear shit off of him, and then he gets an opportunity to prove himself, he's going to be good. Caleb Williams might get traded because he can't do it in Chicago. And when he gets out of that godforsaken organization, he's going to be okay. Every quarterback that goes to Chicago is not a disaster, but the Bears make them a disaster. You have to surround young kids with coaching, teammates, a game plan. None of these guys have had that. Caleb Williams, Eberflus gets fired early in his career, and Eberflus couldn't figure him out. You know what? You know who could figure it out? Maybe Ben Johnson.
Don't say that. Don't go there. Even though we're about to go there.
I tell you what, I don't think he's going to Chicago. But if Ben Johnson goes to Chicago, you're not going to be dogging Caleb Williams anymore.
He might look a little better with Ben Johnson
He's
running the
show.
show.
A lot better.
I don't think Ben Johnson ends up there either. Looks like Mike McCarthy might be in line there. But Terry, did you know that the Lions next year, they have the 5th most cap space heading into the offseason? This is per Spot Track's Pete Spivak. over there in the TD booth just sent me this information. $68 million in an estimated cap space. They're projected to pick number 28th in the draft. They got a couple pending free agents they got to make decisions on. Zeitler, Carlton Davis, and Levi O. But they're 5th in cap space. I got to tell you, though, number 3 in open cap space is the Washington Commanders at $93 million. 9 draft picks for them, too. They got their quarterback. They got some really nice pieces around him. You fill some holes on that defense. You give him another weapon, another offensive lineman. The Commanders, we might see them around for a while.
Oh, yeah, no question about that. But I'm still going to say slightly the Lions have an advantage because you're going to get Hutch back. You're going to get Aleem McNeil. And Hutch and McNeil are elite players when they're healthy. And they're going to come back. Now here's the tricky part. Who's going to be the OC? Who's going to be the DC?
Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
I have this philosophy is good organizations, and that's what the Lions are now. They're a good organization. You go next man up in coaching too. You know, they talk about when a player is injured, next man up. You do that in the coaching staff too, right?
Right.
When I don't know, when Bill McCarthy lost his OC, not Dallas, but Green Bay before then didn't disappear. When Bill Belichick lost his assistant coaches, New England didn't disappear. It was the next man up. And the Lions will figure that out too. They've got some people on staff that they're working out. We praise these position coaches because they were ex-players and they were real smart. Well, one of them is going to be elevated into that, or 2 of them are going to be elevated in that position, and they're going to be fine. And they may not be Ben Johnson, they may not be Aaron Glenn, but at some point they will have their own philosophy, their own way of doing things, and guess what? It's going to work.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm thinking defense.
And
my mind.
Now, what did my Aunt Margot say? Let me see if you can remember this.
Something about your leg veins and grannies on a cruise ship.
One monkey.
What was
One monkey don't stop, no show.
Yeah, that's the line.
In other words, when the monkey leaves, the show goes on. You bring up another monkey.
What about when that one monkey is the 12th man on the field?
What if it's an orangutan?
In the end zone. That's not the monkey you want, though. That was a brutal coaching mistake.
Correct. When you had here's the double whammy of that. The Commanders were about to lose their 4th down. They're going to have the play clock run out on them at the very least, and then so now the Lions are in an advantageous situation. People are going crazy. They can sense something good is going to happen for the Lions, and then you're like 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, 12. Oops, you got 12 people on the. So that's why I talk about the mental part of the game. Physically, the Commanders beat the Lions, but the Lions beat themselves mentally too with plays like that. That made absolutely no sense. You've gone through Pop Warner, you've gone through high school, you've gone through college. I mean, we used to make fun of Jim Caldwell because he couldn't count. Well, last night, Aaron Glenn or Dan Campbell couldn't count. Somebody couldn't count.
Kelvin Shepard, maybe?
You should be able to count to 12 in the National Football League.
And if you can't, know how to go like this. Timeout.
Right.
Timeout. They all saw it happening.
You know, the coaches are doing this like, whoa, like this. So it's so loud at Ford Field, you don't know what they're saying. Maybe they're dancing.
Yeah, right?
How about this? Instead of going like this, do like this.
Yeah, all the coaches should have been doing that. That's
right. So that was a failure on their part too.
Which was a bigger mistake to be made? That 12-man on the field penalty or the Goff interception just before halftime? We could say he had a pick six. He had another interception late. That one before halftime where he tried to hit J-Mo in the end zone. It looked like J-Mo had Mikey Sanders still beat. Sanders still made a good play on the ball, but Goff forced that. It wasn't his best throw, and they were in field goal range. That would have made it 31-24. The Lions didn't get that field goal. They ended up cutting the lead to 31-28. Imagine if that game is tied at 31. That's a big play.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah, it
3
was.
points.
Yeah, and it wasn't his best throw, but the Sanders still showed a little speed on there because he caught up with J-Mo a little bit, even though the ball was probably a little underthrown.
Yeah.
But
he made a good play.
He had him. He had J-Mo.
Yeah.
And he blew the throw.
Yeah. I got dogged for months wanting Sanders still in Detroit. Oh, we don't need another slot cornerback. We don't need another DB. The dude's sensational, and he's going to be one of the better defenders in the NFL moving forward. Terry, I got to ask you, we were talking about the coordinators, and we heard multiple times on the broadcast yesterday, no team has ever, I think, been to the Super Bowl, definitely not won the Super Bowl, the year after losing both of their coordinators, their offensive and their defensive coordinator. I'm pretty confident Aaron Glenn is 99.9% gone. Do you think how this loss happened, how the offense played yesterday, do you think that lowers the percentage of Ben Johnson leaving? Like, maybe he thinks, how about one more spin around the block with Dan?
I think that could happen with both guys.
With both?
One, yes.
Even with the
I'm not
Saints
convinced
and the
Ben
Jets?
Johnson is leaving. Huh?
Even with the Saints and the Jets, you don't think Aaron Glenn, he's getting one of those jobs?
Yeah,
Those
but
are his
I'm
teams.
talking about Ben Johnson. I'm not we've
Well,
all
you just said both
said
coordinators.
Ben Johnson is leaving. I'm not convinced he's leaving. I would put his chances of leaving more at 60-70%.
Wow.
That's a probably, but that's not a definite. As I said on our show yesterday,
Yeah.
Ben Johnson is being courted. All these teams are saying we're interested in him, but nobody has raised the bar enough for him to want to leave as of last week. Now, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to do more to lure him to Las Vegas, to lure him to New Orleans, lure him wherever, because Ben Johnson loves his situation here.
Yeah.
He thinks it's near perfect. And there is the possibility that, since they came up short, that he could feel some type of obligation to the Lions or the Fords or Dan Campbell. I didn't do my job, so I'll give you another year. Because he's being compensated very well.
Mm-hmm.
He's got support.
Mm-hmm.
He likes it here. He's in a very good situation.
Yeah.
So, yes, he will take a head coaching job at some point, but he's in no rush.
I certainly
if
hope
somebody
so.
wants him this year, they got to sweeten the pot a little bit.
Tom Brady's got to pay up, and I want to ask you about the Raiders. There's some interesting variables tied to him going to the Raiders, and maybe a Raiders superstar leaving Las Vegas. But want to shout out the chat as we enter our last segment. It's 8:45. Got about 15 minutes left on the show. We got 811 people in here. Seems like 805 are ripping on Jared Goff right now, led by Mr. Speakeasy Sports, taking his "I told you so" moment, like we all knew he would do. Nonetheless, thank you everyone for joining. We got 800 on YouTube.
And if I tell you what we have on X, you might get nervous. And Terry, I don't know if I think Terry could stand it. I don't know if you could stand it, Matt.
I
Are you
can see it.
ready?
We over 2,000.
Oh yeah, 2,600.
2,600 out there on X, tuning in for our postmortem. Our postmortem on this line.
2631.
Can one of those 2,600 X people get my account back?
You got it hacked last year, right? And you still haven't got it back.
It wasn't just hacked. It was hacked and stolen.
Stolen. And now you can't even move over to TikTok. TikTok's dead.
No, they got a 90-day stay of
Yeah,
execution.
my poor wife is despondent. She loves TikTok. She sends me like 2 TikToks a day, every morning.
We're going to see carpal tunnel syndrome cases shrink across the U.S. Moving forward. All the less scrolling.
They got a 90-day stay of execution to TikTok.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Trump has turned his giving them a 90-day stay of execution until they can get sold.
Gotcha.
So they're not completely banned yet.
A wild world we live in. Unfortunately,
right.
We have to spend the entire off season. What?
Oh my God! You know what, brother? I have some bad news for you, brother. Our fortunes beginning to change. Remember how we were talking about how no Detroit team has lost in 2025? And one day the Pistons, Red Wings, and Lions lost.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Not a good day.
Is our magic done?
Not a good day. Oakland University won.
Should we
Oakland
fade
University
to black?
men's basketball.
Count.
Should we fade to black
Don't
after
count.
that?
We should fade. That's kind of how it feels going into this offseason. I think losing in the Super Bowl would have meant that this season was a failure. To not get to the NFC Championship game that we would have hosted at Ford Field, this hurts, Terry. A lot of Detroit Lions fans are going to be in their feels all day today, wondering what could have been. Right now, it's Goff hate, which is a joke. The dude had one of the best seasons in Lions history, is an absolute stud. What do you tell them?
Look, he should get some hate today. He's the starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, today he should.
His job is to win. His job is to not turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Lions are 23-0 when there are no turnovers.
Yeah.
Now, if Jared Goff plays like he did last night, maybe has 1 or 2 turnovers, all right, then I'd be with you. But he had 4.
Yeah. He's got to play better in the bigger moments, of course. But he's done that over the course of his career. This is a 1-game sample size, and it sucks. And everything you're saying is accurate. Everything people are saying about last night is accurate. I'm not defending Goff last night. But why are we taking 1 game out of the 18 that they played and singling that out? That, like you said earlier, this is the Jared Goff? No, it was a stinker. It was a 4-turnover night. Was it 3 picks and a fumble? It can't happen, of course. He didn't do that last year. He led the team to the NFC Championship, and other things fell short.
But that's what we do. Look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had a rebound, career-changing season, but he stunk against the Lions, and he's probably going to lose his job.
Right. That's how the NFL works.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that Lions fans have to give up on the quarterback that got him here. You know, all these 4th round, 6th round picks around him, tight ends in the 2nd round. Yeah, it's Sam Laporta, but he was drafted in the 2nd round. Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is a superstar. No other team in the NFL wanted him. St. Brown is a first-team All-Pro.
Detroit sports. Young boy.
What?
Let me give you a little lesson about Detroit sports.
All right, let me
hear it.
hear
You know the most popular guy in Detroit is?
The backup quarterback.
Backup quarterback. Right.
How's that looking right now, by the way?
Huh?
How's that looking right now, by the way?
The Lions lied to us.
That a little bit of a surprise.
No, the Lions lied to us. They said they brought in Hendon Hooker, not Hendon Hooker, but
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy B.
Not because Hendon Hooker was struggling in practice. We still have confidence in him. But who did they bring in?
Teddy B.
They brought in Teddy Bree. So that told me right there, Hendon Hooker isn't where they want him to be.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there at every practice. He knows every rep. He knows every signal. He knows everything. But when it's time to show that, they bring in a high school algebra teacher at quarterback instead of your draft pick. What's that tell you?
If they won the Super Bowl this year, there was a movie being made about all of that.
Right. Teddy Bridgewater came in with a little one of those little pen things in there, and he had his bifocals on.
Yep. Yep.
He's a high school teacher and coach.
Yep.
He's Mr. Bridgewater came in to save the day.
By the way, Terry, young bloods can't spell, but they could rock you in PlayStation. Throwing that out there. Shout out Mos Def. Hendon Hooker, though, you just brought me the perfect bridge to what I wanted to ask you about.
Bridgewater?
Ben Johnson. No, Hendon Hooker.
I know, but you said the perfect bridge, Bridgewater.
Oh,
sorry. Ha.
Pete, I actually like that. I apologize that I didn't pick up on that because that's my kind of joke.
Yeah, wake up.
Wake up, Woodward. It's tomorrow at
Monday
8 a.m.
through
It's so
Friday,
weird doing
8
this on
till
Sunday.
10.
Pardon? 8 to 10 tomorrow.
Wake up, yeah, 8
Or no.
to 10, Monday through Friday. No, not tomorrow.
Tuesday.
MLK
Tuesday.
Day.
MLK Day,
That's
so
right.
there are no
Tuesday.
live shows tomorrow.
Oh, there aren't? Sweet.
Actually, don't hold me to that. Chat, don't hold me to that. Stick in the chat. Confirm if we have live shows tomorrow. I am not aware. I know.
We
banks
only
are
work
closed.
here. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, banks are closed. There, we just show up on Sundays and Mondays and do our thing. No, but one of the rumors, Ben Johnson to the Raiders. That's the rumor out there. I know you don't think it's as real as Hondo or as real as some others around media, other fans. But one of the wrinkles to all this is if he goes there, they're thinking of bringing Hendon Hooker with them, which would have to be facilitated in a trade. And some people are estimating like a second-round draft pick. So they get Ben Johnson, Hendon Hooker. Lions get a second-round draft pick. Is that something you would almost welcome? Like, if you can make that happen, are you willing to give up on Ben Johnson? Not give up. Are you willing to let Ben Johnson go maybe a year earlier than you would like if it includes Hooker and we get a second-round pick back?
I'd do it.
Second-round pick?
Yeah. But, hey, I think we saw it last night. Hendon Hooker is not all that in the bag of chips.
Yeah. The only person who knows him best is Ben Johnson.
Because if he was, he would have been out on that field last night instead
right.
of Mr. Bridgewater.
Yeah. Mr. Bridgewater, he was 1 for 1. Nice little 3-yard completion.
Play, yeah.
Facilitated that
Dude, I
J-Mo
could
end
have
around.
completed that play.
If Ben Johnson doesn't go to the Raiders, Max Crosby's been talking a lot in the news this week. Not saying he wants to leave, just saying, hey, Raiders, we gotta make winning moves. We gotta turn this organization around. You said Aiden Hutchinson is coming back. Zadarius Smith will be back for a year. Ali McNeil, Derek Barnes, Malcolm Rodriguez, Carlton Davis, they got to make a decision on. There's going to be a lot of moving parts this offseason, Terry. Is there a storyline you're going to be thinking of over the next few months as we get into coaching hires, the draft, free agency? It sucks talking about this right now on January 19th. We should be talking about this on February 10th.
Yeah, bro,
But
at
we
least
have
we're
to.
not talking about it on October 5th. So
Yeah.
look at it that way.
Factual.
Right. But, hey, this is the cruelty of the NFL. You don't get what you want all the time.
That's right.
You can't play entitled. You got to play the game the way it was meant to be played.
Yep.
And you got to be smart. The Lions were not smart last night. And I know they got deficiencies and the turnovers hurt and everything, but that was not a smart football team last night. 12 men on the field. The J-Mo pass.
Yeah.
And then yelling at the poor kid
Yep.
when he does what J-Mo does.
Yeah. Just got to let him fly. Let Goff throw it to him. I know there was an interception,
Well, he
but
did, but he didn't throw the ball where he should
He
have.
didn't throw it well.
throw it again. Throw it again. I don't think the offensive line played very well last night, at least not the game we're used to. Mahogany was fine. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't good. Like, it just – Goff was pressured all night. He played poorly. Jahmyr Gibbs played sensationally. St. Brown played well. Laporta played well. It just wasn't that same offense. I know they scored 31 points. It just wasn't that offense that we've come to know could battle back every bit of adversity they faced. It was just too much for them last night. The Commanders were too much for them last night. Terry McLaurin had the big play. maybe a missed tackle by Kendall Vildor on it, but there were 3 Redskins, 2 Lions. Like, I got to throw that out there. I guess what I'm trying to say is Lions played bad, but the Commanders beat them. The number 6 seed beat them in their own house. I don't think we can weasel ourselves around it. Yeah, they deserve.
You can't.
There's no question. Now, what I didn't want to see happen last night is that the Lions score some garbage quarterback touchdown at the end, and then we guys, they only lost 45-38. Why are you guys complaining?
Right.
They were getting their asses kicked last night.
Yeah. There have been a few games this year where the Lions' opponents have scored some points late, made it look like a closer game than it was. Commanders were in control from the start. That 3-and-out, that opening drive from the offense, 2 runs to Montgomery and then an incomplete pass. Not the way you want to start.
Nope.
That didn't set the tone. Although it got the Washington offense out in the field early so that the crowd could stay alive. That 3-and-outs, the Lions don't usually play well when that's how you start. Second quarter,
hey, you know
both
what?
teams.
That opening drive may have been different if your starting running back was Jahmyr Gibbs. How
Without
about
a
that?
doubt. Without a doubt. Who knows how the game could be changed?
Once again, the coach is not being smart. Now, let me get this straight. You've got a guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, who's been fantastic with Montgomery out. And then Montgomery has, they were talking about having knee surgery.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not going to have knee surgery. Well, let's put him on IL. No, I don't want to be on IL. And then when he's out for several weeks and you're playing the biggest game of the season, you bench Jahmyr Gibbs and you try to establish the game with David Montgomery, who's injured, who's rusty, and is not as himself. And Jahmyr Gibbs has been fantastic. Once again, I talk about the Lions not being very smart. The coaches were not very smart in that situation to start the game.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember back to all of the games, and there might be one especially early, the Bucks, even the Rams, possibly week 1. But I think it was the worst coach game of the year by them. By all aspects. All aspects. Special teams didn't really get many opportunities. But I just thought the offense and the defense and the head coaching decisions, it wasn't what we've gotten used to. Did that bye week hurt? I'm not going to blame the bye week, but you got to come out crisper than that. You
Hurt
have
Kansas
to.
City? The bye week hurt Kansas City?
No. Although
Did it
they
hurt
looked
Kansas City
rusty
last
early.
year?
No.
Okay. Did the bye week hurt San Francisco last season?
No.
No. That's excuses.
Yeah. Dan Campbell's got to get better. I still think he should be coach of the year for the regular season since all the voting ended. And I'm glad the voters didn't get to see this. But, man, Terry, we're right at about 9 o'clock, and the Lions season is over. I'm not prepared for this. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands. What do we do? What do the Lions fans do right now?
Well, don't
we can't
do
watch
anything
Matthew
bad.
Stafford
Because
tonight.
people are watching. Yeah, I'm going to watch that. That's going to be very interesting. But, don't play the game like you're entitled, one. Come in with a game plan. I knew something was up when they interviewed Dan Campbell, and he said, well, would you tell the guys before you went out there? We're going to wear silver pants, and, we're
Go on and give it
excited
your
to
best
be
shot.
here. He didn't say anything that motivated me.
That
The
surprised me.
Commanders coach did. Yeah, he's like, I'm telling him this is your one shot. Show him who you are. Show him that you belong here.
Yeah.
Show him that you can keep going. And Dan Campbell came out, we're going to wear silver pants tonight, and we're excited.
Yeah.
No, come on, dude. Come
Did it
better
not
than
seem like each team took on the personality of their coach in those interviews? Dan Quinn was very calm and very collected, very crisp with his responses. And Dan Campbell was a little out of his body, a little too energetic, not really clear with what he wanted to say or do, and it felt like that out there on the field, the offense and the defense.
Yeah, his pregame talk, he probably went up there and said, hey, guys, anybody want any Tootsie Rolls tonight?
Yeah.
He was uninspiring. And one of the reasons I always thought the Lions would be prepared is because Dan Campbell will talk the paint off the walls.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he didn't do that last night. I'm guessing that he was in a kind of muted state. He wasn't Dan Campbell. Let's go kick some ass there. And yeah, you want to, you're talking about us being the hunted. Yeah, we'll be right there on your front porch waiting for you to come out there. He wasn't on the front porch waiting for the Commanders. He was hiding behind the bushes last night.
They were chasing. Just like that first down run from Jayden Daniels where Terrion Arnold just got sucked in a little too much inside, which allowed their best weapon on offense, Jayden Daniels, to escape the pocket and get the first down. It was tough. Terry, before I get your final thoughts, I'm going to give Pete the chance. Just any notes you have on the season. I know you'll be on Armani and Edwards from 2 to 4 later this week to give your thoughts. But anything you want to say? It's Sunday after the Saturday night upset.
Well, I do. Just real quick, because obviously, aside from running the show with you guys today, and I really have enjoyed being with you guys, by the way, all season. I do want to thank you guys for including me, by the way. To the fans out there and everybody, in the chat, just going at each other, figures. I was just waiting for this I was waiting for it all day long. Everybody's jumping off the bandwagon. SOL is back and all that sort of stuff. Guys, it was a 15-3 season. It was Super Bowl or bust, so now it's bust, which makes it a disappointing season and a failed season, and it is what it is because of the expectations. But I'm going to tell you guys this: Lions were 15-3, 15-3. Okay, they've never been 15-3 before ever. So I'm kind of sick and tired of everybody just jumping off the bandwagon and saying, oh, it was the Lions now suck. They're going to go back to being who they are. Just remember what happened this season, and you had 15 frickin' wins. You had 15 celebrations. We had 15 wonderful post-game shows.
Yeah,
it was a fun season. The NFL is the NFL. Terry, you said it. The NFL is going to break your heart. It is what it is. It's real life. It's not fantasy land. And I had an absolute fun season watching this Lions team, and I look forward to what is going to be coming in the future. And I just want to say one more thing to the Lions fans: BNL. Okay, BNL's here. SOL is dead, and you can take your SOL stuff and go shove it.
Love that, Pete.
Thanks, guys.
Love that, Pete. Terry, final thoughts before we sign off for the 2004 NFL season. Lions 15-3, lose in the divisional round to the Commanders.
Yeah, I think what we've seen the last 2 years is the Lions have said we're buying lottery tickets to the Super Bowl. Now, when you buy a lottery ticket, you don't always win. But when you don't have that ticket, you always lose. You never win because you don't have that chance.
Yeah.
They're one of the major players in the National Football League. Yes, yesterday was ugly, but yesterday was a byproduct, at least, to crazy injuries on defense. That defense is better than what we've seen the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And they're going to get healthy. They're going to get Hutch. They're going to get Lee McNeil back. And I tried to tell you how important McNeil is to this defense.
Yep.
He's important. McNeil, Hutch, and Anzalone. Get them on the field together. That defense is pretty special.
Yeah. Just think, Jack Campbell will be another year older and more experienced. Brian Branch, first-team All-Pro, NFL leader in interceptions, Kirby Joseph. They got to sit. Terrion Arnold will be better. Ennis Rakestraw. They got to make a decision on Carlton Davis.
Hansy.
Right.
Hansy got so much better over the course of the season. The future is bright. The core is signed long-term, and they still have the fifth most cap space headed into the offseason.
Exactly.
The future's bright. I'll take any offense that has Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown in it. And, oh, yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs. Like you said, two superstars walked off the field yesterday, Terry. Jayden Daniels and Jahmyr Gibbs. We got that to look forward to for a long time.
And you know what? You know what's happening in the back room? Brad Holmes is rolling the dice and doing crazy stuff, and he's slapping people on the back. Don't forget about him.
Yeah.
He's got that cap space. He's got the draft picks. He's going to do something special with it. And you still got him wheeling and dealing in the background.
Yeah.
The future is bright. don't get down on this team.
Right.
Yes.
This is not same old Lions. This
Right.
is same old Lions. Oh, they finished 8-9 and missed the playoffs.
Right.
What's going to
My
happen?
point exactly.
That's same old Lions.
Before we sign off, just in case, because we didn't talk about it, I want to make sure, because you seemed this was interesting, and I just got reminded of it. You said you saw something post game that wasn't normal. Can you explain before
Yes,
we
I've seen
call it a
something
day?
post game the last 2 years I didn't see before with the Detroit Lions. The players and the coaches were really upset. They feel like they let the city down. They feel like they let their teammates down. They feel like that they were a disaster. And it hurt. It hurt to the core. Now, in Lions seasons past, here's what I saw.
Yeah,
Well, we gave it our best and we just lost. You know?
I see what you're saying.
You know, I got kids at home who love me, and I got to go play with my kids. In other words, and I always thought this at the end of the Lions season, why do the fans care so much more about this team than the players? I don't get that sense anymore. I get the sense that the players care way more than they did before.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I caught from post game last night. Caught it from post game last year also. That you have a core of players who care more about the product
Yeah,
than players in the past.
yeah.
They just didn't seem to give a damn.
That's a good
So
call.
I got my paycheck. I'm gonna go to the beach now.
Yeah. You heard how much it affected Jared Goff after the game, and I know you brought up post-game, but everyone in the chat, go back and watch Jennifer Hammond's interview with David Montgomery pre-game and how he talked about the city of Detroit and what he feels to be a part of it, how they've embraced him. It was a fantastic interview, but to me kind of sums everything you just set up in a nutshell. They care so much about this city. They feel like they let them down. That gives me confidence that whoever is the coordinators next year, whoever are the position coaches, they're going to be fine, because to tie it all together, they still got Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, and Sheila Hamp. They're going to be okay.
Right. And there's only one happy team at the end of every NFL season.
That's right.
Let it not
land.
be the Chiefs.
It ain't fantasy land.
Let it
the
not
Chiefs.
be the Chiefs. Not 3 years in a row. Well,
Why not? You don't want to see Taylor Swift again?
nah.
Not only do we get Taylor Swift, but we get Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
I
like
wanna see Caitlin Clark
too.
again.
God help
I
us.
love me some Caitlin Clark.
Oh God.
We may be seeing the end of Travis Kelce before our eyes.
That's
But
true.
nonetheless, Detroit Lions. Terry, I'll let you sign off this season for us, but it was so much fun for me to work with you. You are a legend. You've been covering this team in Detroit sports for, not to age you, for decades. I respect you. It's been a lot of fun. I hope to be back with you next year. But nonetheless, an amazing Lions season cut too short. Just cut too short.
Yeah. Now, I want to say this: in the Lions' darkest hour this season, the future is bright. This team will get better. This team will get healthier. At some point, can't guarantee it's going to happen next year. At some point, this core will be playing in a Super Bowl at some point. The team we saw last night at Ford Field is not the team that we saw in September, October, parts of November. It was almost like the football god said, you know what? Not your turn. We're not going to allow you to celebrate too soon. The Lions' time for celebration, the Lions' time for actually being the king will come in due time. It's just not ready yet. But it's going to come.
Just not ready
And
yet.
this is me, bad Terry saying it.
Bad Terry.
We got a lot of fans in the chat. Where are we at now? About 800 on YouTube, several thousand more on X. Most of them
4,000 on
know
X.
you, Terry, and your history. What'd you say?
4,000 on
4,000 on X. They know a little pessimistic Terry from years past. Things have changed, and we can tell it just from how you talk.
You know
about
why I was
this team.
pessimistic? Because they sucked.
X.
That's why.
Facts.
Bottom line.
got nothing else to say. For Pete Spivak in the TD booth.
Appreciate you, boys.
For all the Woodward Sports Network, this was Woodward in Maine. Terry Foster, you're the legend. My name's Matt Broder. Take us out for the final time this season.
See you, folks. We'll see you next year. The sun will rise today. Go Lions. Sorry that you had to see that last night, but hey, you know what? Every championship team in Detroit has had to have very trying times. The bad boy Pistons got rocked by the Celtics. The going to work Pistons got rocked by everybody. You have to have pain.
I was trying something.
If you're going to be a success story, at least in this town. That's the way it works here. So now, at some point, we're going to look back at this Commanders game, and we're going to laugh about it.
Yeah.
Because they're going to rebound from this, and Detroit always seems to rise from the ashes, but you can't have ashes without heartache. And last night was the heartache, and at some point they will rise from the ashes, and you will be proud of this organization again.
Absolutely.
So just hang in there. And love all you guys. Thanks for supporting us, and I guess we won't be on next week. That's going to be a bummer.
It will. It will. Everybody have a wonderful off season. Tune into Woodward Sports Network, which isn't going away. They got shows all week from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So tune in. All the shows on Woodward Sports Network. My name is Matt Broder. That was Terry Foster. We'll see you next season. This was Woodward and Main Street.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.